Hey everyone, hope all of you are doing great. My name is Ruvat and hope all of you are having an amazing and productive day. And on this episode, I want to tell you about 5 life-changing things that I actually learned from living in 5 different countries. So for those of you who know me or have been following me for some period of time, knows that I'm originally from Azerbaijan. I was born and raised in Baku, in the capital, and then later at the age of 17, when I actually just turned 17, I moved to a country called Estonia, which is in the northern part of Europe, in Baltic, which is part of one of the Baltic states and close to Finland and Sweden and Russia. To start with, and after that, obviously, I just wanted to, go ahead. I moved to Spain in 2016, and after that to Italy 2017, and then United States for a year, and then back to Spain, and then back to Estonia again. So in total, which makes a total of 5 different countries, which I experienced, and obviously all of them was for different periods of time and with different purposes. Obviously, the shortest one was for 3 months, was in Italy, in the city called Mantova, and the longest one was in United States, which was almost 10 months, let's say, and 10 or 11. I don't remember exactly, and it was last year. Was it? Yeah, it was last year. And yeah, obviously there were a lot of things that I actually learned from all these experiences, and I have a lot of memories to share with you guys. So to start with, my first point is going to be there's no such thing as a normal. So what I mean by that, obviously before you move to a new country, before you are planning your trip, you have a lot of stereotypes or things that you think or you have heard about a specific destination that you're going, from your friends, from the people surround you, or from the web or social media, obviously, which is totally fine. But after you actually move there and you start living, your perceptions, your ideas, opinions about this location is going to change slowly. So for example, if you're visiting United States, you can, let's say, what's one of the biggest touristic destinations in the US is like Florida or California or New York, or let's say Chicago or whatever. So you go there, you stay there for a really short period of time as a tourist, and then you just see, let's say, the good sides of the country. I mean, as a tourist, which is totally fine, and it applies to every country. But if you start living in those countries, let's say for a couple of months or for a year, and then you actually start seeing that not all the things that you have thought about can be accepted as a positive point. And that's totally fine. You gotta move on with things, and you gotta focus on the good side. And this applies actually to every country. So apart from that, my second point is going to be what it feels like to be an outsider. So what I mean by outsider, I mean a foreigner, let's say. You can definitely see, let's say, if you're walking on the streets of the country or that specific city, you can see that people will start staring at you. People will accept you as a different person because you physically look different, and things of that nature, which I have seen, let's say, mostly in Estonia when I came in 2015, which was 4 years ago. But obviously Estonia is one of the smallest countries and one of the most developing countries of Europe. So actually in last 4 years, at least in my experience, I have seen a lot of new foreigners, new international people coming to the cities, and actually Estonia is becoming more heterogeneous. Is that the word? More mixed up. So actually the locals who are living here will actually start seeing more foreigners. So for them, when they see a foreigner walking down on the street, they're not going to be like, oh my god, there's someone from another country, or who's this person, or whatever. So you get the point. I mean, obviously you will feel in the beginning, at least, or it also depends on which city you're living in, the size of the city, how mixed up the city is. Let's say in the United States it's more of a mixed base, because you will have people from different races, from different cultural backgrounds and everything. But countries like Estonia or like small cities like in Spain, like Huelva, let's say, if you're let's say from Sweden and moving to Huelva, like some small city in Spain where I used to live, people will definitely look at you because you have, let's say, a different skin color or anything. So yeah, this will absolutely happen, and you just have to accept the situation and just go with the flow, and you don't actually have to care about it, because after some point you will get used to it. And when the locals will start seeing you as a foreigner, as a, let's say, outsider in the beginning of the, let's say, your stay, after a while, like, their eyes will get used to it, and that will be totally fine to go with the flow. So you don't have to be scared or feel bad about it at all. So the next point is going to be what the rest of the world really thinks of my country. So this is something that I always talk about when I'm talking to people from my country, when I meet them in in outside of Azerbaijan, let's say. So what do I mean by that? So here's the thing. For example, people will have or will not have an idea or an information about your country, where you're coming from. So, which is totally fine. Let's say if I'm from a small country like Azerbaijan, not a lot of people, let's say if I go outside of Europe, it will be really hard for someone to actually have an idea about Azerbaijan. For example, I mean, Azerbaijan is pretty close to, let's say, European countries, so a lot of like people who are residing, who are living in European countries, will most probably have more idea or more information, at least maybe they have seen in the news or they have read something, an article or whatever, more rather than someone who is living in the United States or in Brazil or in Australia or something like that. So you gotta accept the situation, and you always have to behave that this person has no idea about your country or who you are or your background, and everything, you will get that responsibility. At least this is what I think. In my case, obviously people may disagree. You will be basically that responsible person to represent your country. So for example, when I was back in US, which was in 2017, I was for a whole year, apart from one person, a family friend, apart from that person, I didn't meet any person from Azerbaijan for a whole year, which was actually super impressive, because I mean, in Estonia, let's say, we have a lot of Azeri people living here, and you have a chance to get to know them more, let's say on the street or in the school or something. But back in the United States, I didn't have this kind of chance. And I mean, I was living in Lincoln, Nebraska, which is like literally middle of nowhere, so it's really hard to find someone from my country, especially if I'm coming from that kind of a small country, in, let's say, compared to US terms, you know what I'm saying? So anyways, and what I did basically, when I was meeting people, they were asking, oh, where are you from? And I was saying I'm from Azerbaijan, and they were like, wait, what? How do you even say that? Is that even a country, or are you joking with me or something? And I was Googling them, and I was actually showing them, hey, look, this is actually a legit country. So it was really hard for people to understand where I was coming from, and I was the main person to actually represent my country. So whatever people are gonna see or hear or think about your country will be dependent on you, basically. In my case, it was me, about Azerbaijan. So whatever, let's say, my actions were, whatever I was telling about my country, or whatever, how I was behaving about my country, people will, at least in my personal thinking, that people will start thinking about my country because of me, which is, I think, normal in this specific case. But yeah, I mean, you don't have to specifically, you just have to be yourself, and and everything will come after that. So I don't want to take this video super long, but I just wanted to share the specific feeling that I had, so I wanted to tell that part. And apart from that, definitely I also want to tell that a better understanding of friendships who are back home, let's say. So let's say after, as I mentioned, I left my country when I was 17 years old, and obviously, obviously you will have a lot of childhood friends, but you don't keep in touch with everyone, obviously, once you start living once you leave the country. So there are, like, let's say, small amount of number of people that I still keep in touch from back home on a, let's say, weekly, monthly basis. But apart from that, you will have really less number of people that you still will keep in touch after you move to a foreign country, or after you live in overseas, let's say. And also, but this is also another great opportunity to actually go out there and meet people from different countries, from like cultural backgrounds. For example, what I figured out that for me, my close friends are mostly coming from southern countries like Spain or Italy, or and the European countries, let's say, which are based, or at least have this southern culture. So I'm gonna come to that specifically. So I'll be like, oh my god, like, what do you mean, like, you're living in Estonia or whatever? So what I mean by that is basically, there are a lot of things that actually go inside of that. First of all, I think that people from south, obviously Azerbaijan is one of the southern countries, so we actually get along. I mean, not get along, but at least I have a better understanding of people who are from southern culture in Europe, let's say, because we share a lot of common values, and at least we're coming from, let's say, warm countries and things of that nature. It actually affects on our behavior and on our attitudes towards each other. But it doesn't mean that you cannot find friends. I mean, I do have Estonian friends. I do have people from northern countries, like, let's say, Norway or Sweden, but it doesn't mean that, like, you will not find them. So in general, to summarize this specific point, that I want to mention that you will definitely have a great opportunity to actually go out there and meet people from different backgrounds, from different cultural backgrounds, which can become your lifelong friends. And you will actually, let's say, you will meet their families, their own close friends, and like travel to their cities, which I have done before. I haven't shared it previously in my videos, that I have this small culture, like, for myself, like a tradition that I've been doing, that to spend Christmas in different countries almost every year, which I have been doing in the last 4 years since I moved from Azerbaijan. So I literally spent Christmas each year in different country with a friend of mine at their family's place, which was one of the best experiences ever, because you can actually visit them, let's say, during the Christmas time, which is let's say traditional holiday. You can go and experience what kind of let's say cultural activities they're doing, how their family looks like, or what kind of things they're involved in during this cultural events or holidays, to actually have a feeling of what's actually up there and how you can actually contribute them as a friend of your friend and stuff like that. And the last point that I definitely wanted to mention is definitely going to be about, you will be all alone on your journey. So when you start moving in a new country, it feels like it's like I'm not a person who plays like a lot of like video games or computer games or whatever, but it basically is like that. So because you start your life, let's say you actually go everything back to zero, So you start everything from zero, from the scratch. You gotta make new connections, you gotta take care of yourself, you gotta take care of let's say your food, your health, your everybody who surrounds you, and basically you're all free and you have this independence to actually go out there and focus on yourself and start building everything from the scratch, which is actually amazing, I think, because when I moved to Estonia for the first time, which was in 2015, like I came literally out of the high school to a university to start a new life in a new country, which is totally culturally and geographically different from my own. So it was hard in the beginning, but after a while, like you start like it's like basically putting yourself outside of your fishbowl, your comfort zone, and which makes the things a bit hard, but at the same time also easy, because you actually have a lot of like freedom and space to actually go and find people, connect with them, and build your new relationships from there, which is absolutely amazing. So definitely don't be shy, don't be afraid to actually go out there, meet new people, make connections, travel, and meet their friends, meet their family. I mean, obviously, they're not going to find meet family of everyone, but but basically, I mean, it just comes by the experience, you know what I'm saying? So it shouldn't be that hard, and obviously, especially, it's really easy when you are moving to a new country for the education purposes, because the other international students who are going to be there will be actually at the same mindset with you, in the same conditions with you. So it will not be hard to actually, connect with each other. So you can actually help each other, you can actually grow together. So it's been already 15 minutes, but anyways, I hope that you actually enjoyed this episode. This was a bit different kind of type of episode I wanted to share with you. But I hope you enjoyed, and I'm waiting for new comments. If you have anything on your mind, what can I make a new episode about? So definitely go ahead and drop down below. And also, don't forget to donate any amount of value that you do believe that this channel is worth of, at least for this episode or the previous episodes. I'm gonna be putting some PayPal donate button there. So go out there, support the family, support the gang, and I'm wishing you all the best, and I will see you soon in the next episodes. Have a great day, guys. Bye.